Hi everybody, this is Rob and Kurt with Two Brothers Hobby, and today we're having entirely too much fun with the Multiplex FunCub.
Yeah, we haven't even built it yet. I haven't even flown it.
We haven't.
The things you can do with the tires. I mean, it's a donut. It's Princess Leia. There's a lot of unique features of the FunCub, from really large flaps, and of course, as we've already pointed out, the oversized tires. So there's a lot of options, optional flying sites. This also comes, or you can order available floats. And we have some floats on back order, but availability's been a bit of a trick, and we understand they have to fulfill customer orders before they get us our freebies to play with. So
doesn't make it any easier to swallow.
Yeah, you know, I know. It's still a tough pill.
Still hurts.
Let's go ahead and jump into the airframe and get us familiar, Rob.
All right. Well, anybody familiar with Multiplex planes, a lot of their fuselages do come in two pieces, which aids greatly in installing a radio and spars and things like that you need to do. Now this also has the removable battery hatch and access hatch right here in the front. Basically the cockpit comes off.
That's handy.
Going to the wing, as you mentioned, Kurt, extremely large flaps and ailerons both. The big generous wing itself, like you said, it's a Cub wing. The nice thing with these kits also is they make for very neat installation on a radio. The servo leads go right down into channels, and then your spars fit up into channels. Tail feathers are the same way. Got our horizontal stabilizer here with our elevator, and vertical with the rudder. Got a parts bag including some plastic pieces that go in for the connection of the fuse and wing, and then we've got our tail wheel wire, our large tail wheel, these hover round wheels here that'll make the FunCub a fun cub.
A FunCub.
And we've got our wire landing gear, and then the parts package.
Main parts bag.
Main parts bag with all the linkages and all the pieces parts.
It's funny, as you build multiplex kits too, you start getting familiar with all the little pieces inside the bags. They start looking familiar.
It looks like a lot to begin with, but really these kits are a little time consuming, but they go together great.
Yep.
And here are your spars and miscellaneous wires and gadgets.
Control linkage, is that the?
There you go. Yeah, control linkage. We've got one of our sticker sets here. The other sticker sets are behind me. And Kurt loves to cut out decals.
Oh,
and there's a bunch of them here to cut out.
I'd love to, if you had the option of sending Multiplex $20 to pre-cut the stickers.
I'd do it.
I'd do it. Just to get them to pre-cut it.
I'd send them $100 and never have to send them any more money again.
Yeah.
And then we've got our directions here, which is in several different languages, so don't let it fool you. Look at the pictures and the corresponding language.
We talked about that. It's a little, you just got to pay attention to the instructions.
But that concludes the airframe. Kurt, why don't you take us through the electronics?
All right. The radio system is real straightforward on the FunCub. We'll start off with, we actually have the power pack that we got. This is everything that comes in the power pack. I wanted to leave it in there so people could see. You've got your actual motor mounting plate. You have a Thunderbird 36 amp ESC that they include in the power pack, and this also comes with a Hymax HC3516. It's a 840 kV motor, so it's not a real high RPM motor, but it's the nice thing is you can go to a bigger prop then. Swing that bigger prop.
With this Cub, you're not going to want high speed.
It's not a high speed. It's a fun, slow flyer. Not slow fly, but slower flight. You want to have all that thrust and slow speed capabilities that make it fun to use those flaps.
Yep. So you want to be able to hang this thing, land this thing on the side of a tree.
Absolutely. The batteries we're going to be using, we have a bunch of Thunder Power 2070 milliamp 3C 25C discharge batteries. These are 1C charge. It's their older battery packs. But we have our 50Cs and all of our fancy ones we'll use as well. But it's a real common size, which makes it that much more attractive. You've got that 3S 2000 milliamp, which people tend to have a lot of these in their collection.
Yeah.
And this does require some servo extensions. What we're going to do on this kit as well is we're just going to go ahead and solder in line some servo wire to extend those out.
Yeah.
Which just makes it so much cleaner.
It does.
Especially with the foams where you're forcing it down inside the slot. You don't want to have a bulky connector. We'll be using an Optima 6 receiver on our FunCub. We're trying to get it open here without ripping the box. And what we'll be using as well is the SPC port. Again, the cool thing about the Optima series receivers is they have an SPC port which allows you to plug in power from your main flight pack up to, pretty high voltage, I think around 40 volts. So you can take this SPC port plug and pull that out, connect it to your main flight pack, and you'll get basic information back to the transmitter. If you have a compatible transmitter like the Aurora 9 or the Optic 6, you'll get the pack voltage, your main pack voltage, so you can see when your pack's getting, before it gets to cut off, it'll let you know, and you can bring it down. So it's nice to be able to do that basic telemetry monitoring built in right into the receiver. We'll be using a couple of HS81 micro servos for our elevator and for our rudder, and then our ailerons and our flaps will be using HS55. These are very common size, high-tech servo, very low cost too. They really retail around $10 in most of your hobby stores.
That's not bad.
For your HS55s. And then of course our radio system will be the Aurora 9. Again, we'll have our pack cutoff voltage set up inside the Aurora 9. This is a nice 9-channel computer radio. It has all the flexibility for helicopters and airplanes, and pretty much everything you'd want to do with a radio system is right here in the Aurora 9. So we'll be able to take advantage of this again.
Well, between that motor, Kurt, and that 13 by 4E.
Yeah, we didn't mention it. It's
prop,
just a 13 by 4E. It's
that
a big
thing ought to have a lot of
prop.
thrust. Yeah, so it's going to be fun to see what kind of situations we can get this in.
Well, I hope we have the efficiency as well, which something like this you want to just fly. You want to take off, land, have fun with the flaps and stuff. So you really want that run time.
Yeah.
But the next step is to get it all together.
Yes, it is.
We'll get it put together, take it out in the field, and test it. Come on back and check out the review footage to see how the FunCub scores on our 5x5 review.